Let's discuss. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Liz, and today we are going to talk about all things bookish icks. Bookish icks. We're going to talk about book icks. Now, I've been wanting to do this video for a while now because I have a lot of opinions when it comes to books and what's in them. So this can include, the physical book itself. This can include the contents of the book. It includes, the writing style, the types of tropes that are found. It can be any of those things that it's so cringy when you read it, and it kind of makes you not want to continue reading a book. That is what I'm going to talk about. I've collected and made a list of a bunch of different book icks that people have posted about or talked about online, and I just want to talk about them and just share some thoughts. Obviously, these are all my opinions. None of this is factual. It's all opinion based. I know everyone has their own thoughts and feelings when it comes to books. At the end of the day, we're all readers and we all love books, so that it really doesn't matter. But it's just fun to talk about these different book icks because it's very controversial, and I've always wanted to share my opinion on it. So let's get into the video. So the first book ick that I found that was pretty clear across the board that I think most people hate is people on the covers. And when I say people on the covers, I mean like realistic people on the covers. I agree with this 100%. This is probably one of my biggest book icks as well, just because having an actual real life human being on a cover, something about it's just icky. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. To me, if I'm reading a book, I'm trying to escape reality. I don't want to look at someone on the cover and then I'm like, now picture the character looking like that. And I'd rather form my own opinions as I'm reading and my own thoughts and ideas about the characters. And something about having a real person on the cover of the book, it's a huge turnoff. I'm not gonna lie. I actually don't mind. Another book ick that was like kind of right after this one was cartoon people on the cover. I can see why this would bother some people. However, I don't actually mind cartoon people. To me, as long as the design is done well, there's some I actually really like. I think that it just depends on the design, honestly. For me, if it's a real life person, absolutely not. Never. I will never enjoy that on a cover. I'm not gonna not read the book, but I definitely don't particularly like that that's on the cover. Oh, this is gonna hurt my soul. Dog earring pages. Okay, I will admit, when I was younger and like in middle school, when I was reading, I would dog ear my pages. I did that all the time. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I also didn't collect books when I was younger. It was more so those were library books, and it already had a million dog-eared pages as it was, so it didn't really bother me. But as I've gotten older and I'm collecting my own books, I honestly hate this so much. Find literally anything and use it as a bookmark. I have used ticket stubs. I have used pieces of paper. Honestly, any bookstore you go to, you always end up with a free bookmark. If it's your own book, do what you want with it. Personally, I will never dog ear my pages again. The next one, this is one that I'm seeing more recently pop up because I think just with how much technology and social media we now have, this is becoming more and more common in books. And that is mentioning modern day apps like TikTok or social media in the book. I can see how this would come across as cringy, especially if they're talking about it constantly. However, if it like actually builds to the plot, or if it's just like mentioned once or twice, it doesn't necessarily bother me. But if like say the person is a social media influencer, obviously they're going to talk about those apps because that's literally their job. But I can see why that would bother some people, because once again, you're trying to escape reality. You're not trying to be looped back in. Like I'm reading about, social media, it's going to tempt me to then get on my own social media and then stop reading the book. Next is the pregnancy trope. I have mixed feelings on this one. To me, I've read a few different pregnancy trope books where it actually added to the story and it made me care for the characters even more than I did at the beginning when they weren't pregnant. And some, it's just kind of like, oh, that was just random. Like, why did that have to be thrown in there? This isn't helping the book. If anything, it's making me not root for the characters because it's like, is this the reason why they're together? It's because they're pregnant. I want them to actually want to be together and not be forced to be together. I can see other books where it's just like, it seems unnecessary. The next one is growling. I 100% agree. This happens a lot in fantasy books. The guy is he's a mythical creature, this powerful being, and he growls at the girl. I hate having to explain this. If you're not a fantasy reader, you won't understand. I mean, I guess this happens sometimes in romance books. It definitely should never be in a romance book. I can see why it's in a fantasy book, but definitely should not be in a romance one. It is very cringy. I can totally understand that. I think if I was listening to an audiobook and it said he then growled, I think I would burst into tears just from laughing so hard. hard. However, when I'm reading it, I feel like I'm able to like kind of ignore it and just like move past it. Next is the cheating trope. Oh my gosh. I hate cheating. To me, it's like if you're not happy in a relationship, then just break up. It's simple. Or if you're married, okay, go to couples counseling, like talk, communicate. And if that's not working, then get a divorce. There's no excuse to cheat. If that happens in the book, I'm not going to root for the main characters because I hate cheating in general. Yes, this is a huge book ick for me. It makes me immediately hate the book and I stop rooting for the characters. Next is unpeelable stickers. This is on the front cover of the book. I hate stickers in general on books. To me, it's unnecessary. If you need to show me that it's on sale, then put a sale sign above the bookshelf that it's sitting on or the stand. Do not put a physical sticker that has sticky adhesive onto the cover of my book. I'm going to immediately peel it off, so it's pointless in general. And if it's an unpeelable one, why? Why'd you have to do that? At least put it on the inside, like the inside flap, like inside of the cover. Do not stick it on the front cover and ruin the cover art. I've never met a person who said, oh, I'm so glad there's a sticker on my book. Next is the miscommunication trope. See, I have mixed feelings on this one again because I feel like some books do it really well because it's like, okay, I could see why you would miscommunicate about that. But other books, it just seems like it's thrown in there to have some third act conflict that's not necessary. For the most part, I hate the miscommunication trope because to me, just communicate. I don't know why it's so difficult for some people to communicate. And I understand I myself am not perfect. I know I don't communicate great all the time. When it forces you to break up with someone, there's just no excuse. Just talk, have a conversation. If you're an adult, especially if you're an adult, it's a young adult romance or fiction. I understand because you're in high school, you don't know any better. Next is long chapters. Oh, I hate long chapters. I understand in fantasy books, especially if it's like a big battle scene or something, that makes sense, especially if it's towards the end of the book. But when it's at the beginning of the book and you're trying to grab my attention and make me keep reading, you need short chapters because they'll make it go quicker. Then I want to keep reading. I'm like, oh, I can just read another chapter. It's only a couple pages. Whereas if I finished a long chapter and the next chapter was also really long, I'm probably going to put the book down because I don't have time to just sit and read these long chapters because it's really hard to stop in the middle of a chapter. Shorten your chapters, 10 pages or less. Next is insta love. I hate insta love in books. That's just not a thing. You don't just look at someone and you fall in love. You can lust after someone, but you don't love someone after just meeting them for the first time. For me, it takes a while to build that foundation with someone to get to know a person. When people are just like, they meet them and then they fall in love within a day, you can have a crush on them and find them attractive. That makes sense. I love the slow burn in books. That's what makes me want to keep reading, is because I'm waiting for that final moment where the couple caves in. When characters think out loud. This happens all the time and I don't understand it at all. I don't understand how you can think out loud and not realize that you spoke unless you're sleep talking. This does not ever happen. This never happens in real life where someone will just think out loud and not realize it. It's a little cringy, not gonna lie. Books in a series that aren't the same size. I 100% agree with this. I'm the type of person who I want all my books to match. I want series to all be cohesive. I want all of the spines to match. I want them to all line up and be the same size, like height. I would rather have all hardcover or all paperback. I don't like mixing. That just annoys the crap out of me. So I'd rather have it all just match and be really pretty. But if it's a part of a series, I want it all to look like it is a part of a series. Very picky with my books. And the last one I'm going to talk about today, this is probably one of the most controversial ones, is cracking the spine. I'll admit, back in my dog earring days, I also cracked my spines. I don't do that anymore. I will do the whole thing where you can like gently loosen the pages, where you peel back first and last page and you work your way in. I'll do that, especially if it's a thicker book and it's very stiff. I'll do that for sure. I love floppy books. I will not crack the spine. The spine is what you see on your bookshelf, and I don't want to see this giant crack going down the middle. That's just how I feel about my personal books. I don't care if other people crack their spines, but if it's my book, please do not ever crack the spine on any of my books. If I am loaning out a book for you to borrow, please return it back in pristine condition. I have told this to my friends many times. If I ever let them borrow a book, guard it like it is your child. I protect my books like they are my children. I don't have children, so they are my children at the moment. And that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was just a quick fun video where I could just share a bunch of controversial thoughts and opinions. And there's way more book icks than what I just mentioned, but these are just the ones that I thought would be fun to talk about because they're the ones I actually have opinions on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and keep a lookout for next week's video. I'm going to be talking about my summer TBR. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I've been slowly setting books aside and figuring out what books I need to order for my summer TBR, and I just cannot wait. I will see you guys in my next video. Happy reading. Bye.